Sheringham is an English seaside town within the county of Norfolk in the United Kingdom. The motto of the town, granted in 1953 to the Sheringham Urban District Council, is Mare Ditat Pinusque Decorat, Latin for the sea enriches and the pine adorns. History: historically, the parish of Sheringham comprised the two villages of Upper Sheringham, a farming community, and Lower Sheringham, which combined farming with fishing. The fishing industry was at its peak in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, as the coming of the railways made it possible for fish to be transported more efficiently to market. Through the 1900s the focus of the fishing, as all along the North Norfolk coast, began to be on crabs, lobsters and whelks. The local fishermen were major suppliers of crabs and lobsters to the London fish markets. Long lining for cod and the catching of herring began to become less important in the second half of the century, as did whelking. Today, from a peak of maybe 200 boats, Sheringham has 8 boats operated single-handed. The current town of Sheringham was once Lower Sheringham, a fishing station for the main village, now known as Upper Sheringham. It is a railway town that was developed with the coming of the Midland and Great Northern Joint Railway line in the late 19th century. Most of Sheringham's range of buildings and shops come from this period and the early 20th century. It has a particularly interesting range of buildings using flint, not normally in the traditional Norfolk style but in a variety of techniques. The town today, Sheringham Town Centre, is centred on a traditional high street with a wide range of privately owned shops. On Saturdays throughout the year there is a popular markets in the car park next to the railway station which attracts large crowds even out of the holiday season. The town also has a good selection of specialist shops such as second-hand books, antiques and bric-a-brac, fishing tackle and bait, a computer shop, a model shop, and arts and craft shops. The Sheringham Little Theatre has a wide range of productions on throughout the year including a well-established summer repertory season running from July to September, and a popular pantomime at Christmas. In the foyer is a coffee shop with display of art by local artists. There is a selection of food outlets, pubs, restaurants and a youth hostel. On October 15, 2010, Tesco won a 14-year battle to open a store in the town. In a split vote North Norfolk District Council Development Committee Chairman Simon Partridge used his casting vote in favour of the scheme. The store finally opened on October 24, 2013. An annual Cromer and Sheringham Crab Lobster Festival is held in May, and the town's carnival is held at the beginning of August. Ottendorf Green is a small green space between the town's railway stations. It commemorates Sheringham's twinning with the German town of Ottendorf. The Church of England parish church of St. Peter was consecrated in 1897. Sheringham Museum. The town's museum, now known as the Moe, includes a collection of old lifeboats, various displays, a viewing tower and houses the Sheringham Shoal Offshore Wind Farm Visitor Centre. Lifeboats. Sheringham is reputed to be the only place in the world to have 4 of its original lifeboats. The Sheringham Museum Trust owns 3 of these, J.C. Madge Pulling and Sailing. Forester's Centenary, the town's first motorised lifeboat. Manchester Unity of Utflows, an Oakley-class lifeboat, Sheringham a Euro unregistered trademark S-last offshore boat. Within the next 2 to 3 years Sheringham Museum Trust plans to have an extended museum to house this unique collection together with 3 crab boats and general lifeboat and fishing industry ephemera. The town has no harbour, so the lifeboat has to be launched by tractor, and the fishing boats are hauled up the beach. An old sail-powered lifeboat is preserved in the former lifeboat shed and the 3 other preserved RNLI lifeboats are kept in another centre. Railway. The railway line to Cromer and Norwich remains open as the Bitton Line. Beyond Sheringham Station, the line has been preserved as the North Norfolk Railway, also known as the Poppy Line to Holt. Sheringham is also the North Norfolk Railway link with the National Rail Network, which was completed in 2010 and used officially by 70,013 Oliver Cromwell. Schools. Sheringham has 3 schools. One is the Woodfields for disabled children, the other 2 are Sheringham High School and Sheringham Community Primary School. Places of worship: St. Joseph's Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church of St. Joseph, on Cromer Road was designed by Sir Giles Gilbert Scott. In 1901 a donation of over £3,000 by Catherine Dieterding, the wife of the managing director and founder of the Shell Oil Company, enabled the purchase of land around an existing chapel to build a new church. Work began in 1902 and the first section, St. Joseph's Chapel, was completed in 1908. In 1910 the second section opened, which comprises the sanctuary, nave and the porch. Later the church was completed by extending the nave and adding a new porch. The complete building was consecrated on March 25, 1935. From the outside it is possible to see the joint between the northern two-thirds opened in 1910, and the southern extension completed in 1935. This large red brick church towers over its neighbours. The north end has a high rose window, while each long side is pierced by three vast perpendicular-style windows. The church is entered through a porch and into a narthex on the southwest corner of the building. Behind a grilled area to the east there is a large framed icon of the Blessed Virgin. Inside the church the height and narrowness emphasizes the arcades, which are also of a good height and have arches of alternate sizes. The dark copyright core is a mixture of both the arts and crafts movement and industrial Gothic, a signature of Gilbert Scott, a Euro unregistered trademark S-style. The font is a replica the Seven Sacraments font at Little Walsingham. There are some good pieces of early 20th century devotional art, much of which was imported from the studio and workshop of Ferdinand Stuflisser in the Austrian Tyrol. There is a rood screen above the entrance to the sanctuary. The Stations of the Cross, ordered from Stuflisser, spent the First World War in the hold of a German freighter impounded at Genoa. In September 2008, Father Dennis Lloyd arrived as the successor to Father Peter Brown, who retired to Wells next the sea. Church of England Parish Church of St. Peter was consecrated in 1897. War Memorial. The memorial to the men and women of Sheringham and Beeston Regis who died in military service during the two world wars is located at grid reference TG 155433 on the traffic island at the intersection of the Boulevard, St. Nicholas Place and the Esplanade. It was designed by Herbert Palmer somewhat in the style of an L in a cross. It is of Clipsham stone and stands 26 feet tall. It was unveiled on January 1, 1921. The names of the dead are on 4 panels that form the base of the cross. A recent addition to the memorial is a small wrought iron fence around the base with poppy motifs. There are also further names on memorial boards in the nearby parish church of St. Peter. Sheringham Park and other prominent property. In 1811, the Sheringham estate was bought by Abbott and Charlotte Upcher. They asked Humphrey Repton to design Sheringham Hall. The Upcher family also built a school. The hall is still privately occupied, but Sheringham Park is in the care of the National Trust and open to visitors. The Dales, formerly the residence of Henry Douglas King Northern Mariana Islands, and later Major William James Sparrow, DSO, MC, is now a hotel. Sheringham Watermill was mainly known as a paper mill that operated from around 1750 to about 1865, although it quite possibly started life as a corn mill. It had an overshot waterwheel, which seems quite remarkable when considering the surrounding terrain and the fact that the mill was only supplied by the small Beeston Beck. A blue plaque on the wall of a cottage marks the location of the mill in Beeston Road, which was then called Paper Mill Road. The Masonic Hall on Cromer Road was once the Electric Picture Palace. The Udfellows Hall on the Lifeboat Plain, built in 1867, was the original RNLI lifeboat station and a gathering place for fishermen and boat builders, and has over the years been used as a craft centre, used to exhibit a model railway, and to display a model village. The hall was also used as a shoe factory. After years of standing idle, it reopened in October 2007, having been completely refurbished at a cost of £250,000. A collection of organisations such as East of England Development Agency, North Norfolk District Council, Sheringham Plus Community Partnership and other interested parties worked together to facilitate the refurbishment of the hall and bring it back into community use. Beeston Bump, Sheringham nestles under the nearby hill of Beeston Bump, a geological SSSI which was the site of one of the Second World War secret Y stations. The bump can be climbed using the Norfolk coast path from either the east or west. The bump began forming between 10,000 and 15,000 years ago at the end of the latest ice age. The huge mass of ice caused a depression in the land and, as the ice melted, the land mass began to spring slowly back in a process called isostatic readjustment. This process still occurs in the UK, as northern England is slowly rising. Sea defences. The northern frontage of Sheringham is protected by a concrete seawall which also serves as the promenade. It is a vital part of the protection of the town against the natural erosion that occurs along the North Norfolk coast. The storm surge of 1953 considerably damaged Sheringham's wooden sea defences. In front of the seawall are groins, armoured at their bases with large blocks of natural rock, which prevent longshore drift. There are numerous drains along the frontage. To the east towards West Rumpton the seawall ends just below Beeston Bump. From there a timber revetment and groin system, designed and constructed in 1976, runs eastwards for 2 kilometres to West Rumpton Gap. The shoreline management plans of the Department for Environment include a policy of managed retreat along this stretch of coast. The revetment between Sheringham and West Rumpton is no longer being maintained and is thus in a poor state of repair. Sections that become hazardous will be removed. The coastline will then be left to evolve naturally. Sport and leisure. Sheringham has a non-league football club, Sheringham FC, who play at Weyburn Road. Notable people: Tony Coleman, Labour MP for Putney 1997 to 2005, born Sheringham. Olive Edness, had 2 photographic studios in the town and became Britain's first female WW1 war photographer. Magdalene Goffin FRSL. English writer, was born in Sheringham. Patrick Hamilton, writer, lived in a house called Martin Cross located on the corner of the Boulevard and St. Nicholas Place. King Nicholas I changed his name by deed poll from Nick Copeman and set up a new empire from his royal seat, a caravan just outside town. King Nicholas I often appeared on TV and radio around the time his book was launched. Craig Murray, former British ambassador, rector of the University of Dundee and author of Murder in Samarkand, was born in neighbouring West Rumpton and is Shannock on his mother's side. His mother is Poppy Murray, now copyright E. Grice, and still lives in Sheringham. Murray was brought up in Sheringham and attended Sheringham Primary School in the past and Grammar School. Alan Smethurst, also known as the Singing Postman, brought up in Sheringham although born in Lancashire. Stephen Spender, English poet, novelist and essayist, lived in a house called the Bluff on the Cliffs. He recalls Sheringham fondly in his autobiography World Within World. Edward Ingram Watkin, English writer, lived in the town. Ralph Vaughan Williams lived in Sheringham in 1919. He also lived and worked at Martin Cross, where he wrote A.C.'s Symphony. Twin towns. Sheringham is twinned with the town of Ottendorf, in the region of Lower Saxony, Germany. Ottendorf is at the mouth of the River Medemon, part of the Elbe Delta in the district of Cuxhaven. Sheringham is also twinned with the town of Musillac in the region of Morbihan, Brittany, France. List of public houses in Sheringham: The Crown, East Cliff, The Lobster, 13 High Street, Robin Hood Tavern, Station Road, The 2 Lifeboats, 2 High Street, Dunstable Arms, Cromer Road, Wyndham Arms, Wyndham Street. Gallery. Location diagram. See also, A1082 Road, A149 Road. References. External links.